Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, May 28th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. It is so great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. This weekend, Norwood and the rest of the country will be celebrating Memorial Day, a day honoring and mourning the military personnel who have died in the performance of their military duties while serving in the United States Armed Forces. For 96-year-old World War II veteran Anthony Grasso, this will be a Memorial Day that he will never forget. Brian Boudreau has the story.
Thursday morning, 96-year-old World War II veteran and Norwood resident Anthony Grasso prepared for a flight to South Carolina, where he would pay respects to a man that saved his life nearly 70 years ago. Grasso, a private in World War II, was in the Battle of Hurtgen Forest, and that is where Lieutenant Frank DuBose lost his life saving Grasso. It wasn't until a recent book called All Souls Day when Grasso found the final resting place of his lost lieutenant. Thanks to the efforts of many, Grasso left with a full police escort to Logan Airport for his flight south.
Well, today was an amazing day in our town and in our state and in our country. Today we sent to Logan Airport a World War II veteran. Anthony Grasso was a private in World War II when he came under an artillery attack in which his commanding officer, his lieutenant, was killed, but Anthony survived. And on his bucket list of things to do is to go and visit the grave of that lieutenant who saved his life one final time. And so District Attorney Morrissey's office got a hold of the story. They ran with it. They raised a GoFundMe page, raised thousands and thousands of dollars, bought airline tickets, round trip down to South Carolina where the gravesite is, and they just left in a motorcade escorted by dozens of police and motorcycles, and they'll probably be in Logan in about 15 minutes. But just an amazing thing. He's on his way to the airport now. He's on his way to South Carolina to go stand in front of his lieutenant's grave and give him one final salute.
Lieutenant DuBose paid the ultimate sacrifice that so many great men and women have also made to make this country what it is. Those sacrifices have long-lasting effects that span many generations.
The meaning of the sacrifice that soldiers, sailors, and Marines make, and in this case we know. I mean, we know what it was. You know, DuBose gave his life, and no doubt the DuBose family went through the same tremendous sorrow that so many families did back in World War II. What was the outcome? What was the gift? What was the result of the sacrifice that he made? Anthony Grasso, 96 years old, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, lived his whole life in Norwood, lived a great life, a happy life, and has made a contribution to his family, to his town, and to the country. And so in that respect, the DuBose family can be very proud of the sacrifice that Lieutenant DuBose made, and of course the Grasso family is grateful, and so are we here in Norwood.
Grateful indeed. Safe travels to Private Grasso and his entire family. Normally this is where I would close it up, but I think I'll let Veterans Agent Ted Mulvihill have this one. For Norwood News, I'm Brian Boudreau. Teddy?
Men in their 90s that served, and women as well, are national treasures. There's no other way to put it. They are the greatest generation, and they are called that for a damn good reason, because they saved our nation, they saved our way of life, our American way of life. We enjoy the freedoms we have today because of their service. They fought for their country, they fought for their families, and we are a better place because of it.
Thanks, Brian. The summer crews will be hard at work reconstructing over 30 roads across town. This is part of the town's infrastructure reconstruction plan that was voted on during the 2020 town meeting.
My name's Sarah Winthrop. I'm the Assistant Director of Public Works Project Manager. I'm in charge of about $8 million worth of infrastructure this year, and hopefully will continue on for the years to come. Special town meeting, fall of 2020, town meeting members chose to invest in town's infrastructure through the infrastructure investment plan. They put aside $2.8 million for road reconstruction this year alone. And we get money from different places, Chapter 90 through the state program, and then the town annual budget also allocates some money. But this year, they've allocated $2.8 million just for road reconstruction, not including the Chapter 90 and the other money. We're going to be doing 31 roads. This is the most we've ever reconstructed. Some of the roads will be cold plain, which is taking off 1.5 inches of the asphalt, repaved with some curbing, asphalt curbing, which is integrated into the paving. Some sidewalks will get done. Some places will have granite curb, just depending on road is what is on the road currently.
If you are interested in knowing which roads have made the list for this summer's work, there is an interactive website with all that information.
So what I would encourage you to do, there's a couple of ways to find this list, and it's actually, I created what we call a story map through ArcGIS, and there's a couple of places you can find it. I've put it out on social media, so the Norwood has its own, DPW has its own Facebook page, it has its own Twitter feed and Instagram page, so you can visit Norwood DPW, quick search will find you there. Also, I would encourage you to go to norwoodma.gov is the town's website. If you click on DPW and then go halfway down on the DPW page, you will find a link, a little blurb, and then a link. And if you follow that link, it'll tell you everything you need to know about which roads are going to be paved, our history, what roads have been paved in the last 20 years. It's a great resource. I'm going to update that story over the summer and into the fall, and we'll show you, we'll do videos. I always can be reached at Norwood Town Hall, 781-762-1240. Ask for Sarah Winthrop. I am more than happy to answer any question, any call.
We'll be right back after this break with a story about goats.
Hi, this is Ted Mulvihill from the Town of Norwood Department of Veterans Services, reminding everybody that Norwood's Memorial Day Observance 2021 will be airing on Norwood Community Media on Monday, May 31st at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then throughout the day and throughout the week. So tune in, don't miss it.
Welcome back. Monday afternoon, the NHS staff and a few lucky students were able to bask in all the fun as the baby goats landed on the NHS front lawn. With the help of some NHS teachers, one student's high school dream of being able to play with some baby goats finally came true.
So one day I was having a nice conversation with one of our students named Melanie, who told me that she loves animals and was hoping to do something with animals after she graduates. And then she also mentioned that she likes yoga. And I said, you should combine your two favorite things and do goat yoga. And she had never heard of that. And I had only ever heard of that because my friend Jen here loves to do goat yoga. So we called Jen and we were talking to Jen about goat yoga. Jen started to explain it to Melanie, and then Jen and I had a side conversation because we didn't want to get anybody's hopes up, but we had a side conversation about whether or not that this would be possible.
So then I called over to Chip In Farm in Bedford, which is where I always do goat yoga. And Farmer Sandy told me that they were not going to be doing any traveling with the goats this year because of COVID. But when I explained to her what the situation was and that I didn't think we could get permission to bring the kids up to Bedford and do it up there, and I explained that it was Melanie's kind of dream to do something like this, she agreed as just for us to bring the goats down for us. And here we are today doing goat yoga with the kids of Norwood High. Yeah.
And we figured what a great way to kind of like bring the class together. The PLC is a group of students with special needs. They all come to Norwood High, and this is just a great way to celebrate a great, tough year, but what a great way to like have our kids play with these kids and have a wonderful time in a beautiful day like this. So big thanks to the Goat Farm, and just what an awesome experience for these guys, and what a great way to just spend a day with them.
I was one of those lucky people who was able to pet those goats, and I strongly believe that we should propose having more baby goats around town. The old skate park behind the Balch is getting a makeover thanks to the CPC and Recreation Superintendent, Travis Farley. Let's go to Travis for more.
Hi Norwood, Travis Farley here at the Elliott Sports Complex directly behind the Balch Elementary School. Today we're at the old skate park. As you can see, we just poured asphalt on it. This was a 2020 CPC project that we got delayed because of the pandemic. Now that things are getting better, we're very happy that we get to resume this project. As you can see, we're hoping to turn this into a futsal / floor hockey area for the residents. So a huge shout out to the CPC and thank you to the town of Norwood for adopting the CPC. Without it doing that, we couldn't have done projects like this. So a big thank you to Norwood. And just a reminder, please stay off of the area for the next 2 weeks, and then we're going to come back and line it, and we'll be ready to play. So we'll see you out here this summer, Norwood.
Cannot wait to get in on one of those games myself down there and try out some futsal. If you are looking for authentic ramen noodles and poke bowls, downtown Norwood has just the place. NCM visited Mizuya Japanese restaurant in downtown Norwood for some delicious food.
My name is Angela, and I'm the owner of the Mizuya Japanese restaurant, and located at 663 Washington Street, Norwood, Massachusetts.
Angela specializes in authentic Japanese food that she is excited to bring to Norwood.
We serve Japanese food like homemade ramen noodles, poke bowls, and sushi and sashimi. Also, we bring the seafood boil here.
Angela loves doing business in the community of Norwood, and Mizuya has been off to a great start since opening.
Because it's a good location, it's a nice community. The business that we're doing pretty good so far. The most we're doing pretty much takeout and delivery, and we just started right before the Mother's Day. We opened up for the dining, and now it's next week we started open up the patio outdoor seating.
To find out more about Mizuya, please visit their website or follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Now we toss it over to Miles Kidd in studio to find out what is happening this week around the Norwood School District.
Hi guys, I'm Miles Kidd, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. The Norwood School Department is partnering with Pell Med's Pharmacy to offer the 2-dose Pfizer COVID-19 vaccination series to students and staff ages 12 and up. First dose clinics will be Tuesday, June 1st at the Coakley Middle School from 12 to 2 and Wednesday, June 2nd from 11 to 1 at the Norwood High School. Second doses will be June 22nd and 23rd. For more information, contact the school nurses at both schools. Students in grades 3 to 5 across Norwood, including RLA, have been learning self-care and anxiety-reducing techniques from Ivy Watts, a certified mental health first aid presenter. Ivy was brought to Norwood through a combined effort of the Minds Matter Coalition and Impact Norwood. Miss Watts shared her story of being a top student athlete who struggled daily with self-worth, anxiety, and depression. Students in grades 3 to 5 heard Ivy's story and learned some stress-reducing techniques such as deep breathing and EFT, emotional freedom techniques, tapping. Students learned where to tap lightly around their heads and faces to instantly feel calmer and more relaxed. The pictures for this story were brought to her town-wide presentation to the 5th grade. The Prescott School 1st grade is in the middle of celebrating the ABC countdown for the end of the year. The amazing 1st grade team of Miss Fitzgerald, Miss Elbosh, and Miss Rathier have organized an amazing countdown to the end of the year, celebrating the accomplishments of each kid and looking forward to the future. Over the past 2 weeks, kids have spent time outside blowing bubbles for Bee Bubbles Day, reading books for flashlights for F Flashlight Day, and the ever-popular Dance Day for D. The 1st grade has really promoted this theme across the Prescott School and has even invited some other grades to participate in the dance party on the blacktop. As the year comes to a close, the 1st grade team is so proud of our 1st graders and all their hard work this year. At Little Mustangs, there is some exciting science happening. The students are observing caterpillars, thanks to our fabulous PTO. They are learning about the life cycle of a caterpillar from egg to caterpillar to chrysalis to a beautiful butterfly. The students get to watch this happen in their very own classrooms. Classes have enjoyed reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar and playing some games. In one classroom, the students learned about and painted a symmetrical butterfly. Students pretended to drink like a butterfly using their straw, just like butterflies drink nectar. And finally, the Cleveland community gathered for a celebration ceremony in honor of Mrs. Adrienne Fine, the school's speech pathologist, who died after a short battle with cancer this December. Together, the PTO and the staff donated a bench and tree for the memorial. 4th and 5th grade students decorated rocks for the planned kindness garden. A castle-shaped free library will be installed later this year. This was a very nice touch by the Cleveland school, and I'm sure it was an emotional ceremony. It is nice to know that Adrienne will always be remembered by her Cleveland family, and I'm proud to be a graduate of the Cleveland School. Well, that's it for school news. There's something interesting happening in our classrooms in schools every day, and thanks to the educators who share their news with us. Now let's send it over to Brian Dunn with the latest in spring sports.
Hello and welcome into the sports update for this week. My name is Brian Dunn. Our main story this week, we caught up with 2 phenomenal gymnasts. Seniors Gillian Olbrechts and Elizabeth Broderick competed in the Senior Nationals competition and placed 2nd overall this past week. A great representation of Norwood High School. We caught up with the 2 seniors who shared their thoughts on the competition.
It was really fun. It was like, I was just glad I was there and like competing for Team Mass. So it was weird having like a bunch of high schools mixed together too. Like me and Lizzie were the only ones from Norwood, but there were girls from like Masco, different schools like that, and it was just really fun to be out with them. I think I did pretty good. It was a little bit of a struggle because I don't do competitive gymnastics anymore, and so when I had stopped that, I was level 8, and high school was level 8 rules, so I could compete all the same routines. But this was a level 9 judging, so I had to add some upgrades, and I'm glad I did them.
It was really cool to compete all around for Massachusetts and against all these amazing other states. It was just really fun to get to finish off the year doing all the events. I mean, I just kind of went in having fun. It was my last high school meet, so last meet in my high school career, so I just kind of wanted to have fun throughout the whole weekend. Yeah, I think all the girls were like, they're now like are good friends now. Like, it was just really fun, and we're gonna visit each other next year, and throughout the summer, it was just a really fun experience.
It was another busy week in the sports world. This time around, we'll have highlights of track and field versus Hopkinton, volleyball versus Millis, and wrestling versus Norton. Let's take a look. First up on the week was a volleyball matchup against Millis. Each set was a tight race to the finish, but Bassam Audi led the way for the Mustangs with a handful of kills and some great blocks to give the Mustangs a straight set victory. Moving over to track and field, they took on the Hillers in a home meet. Hopkinton is one of the stronger programs in the TVL, and they proved their praise with multiple first-place finishes. But a highlight for Norwood, Jonathan Palumbo set the unofficial tie of the school record in the 100-meter dash with a time of 10.8 seconds. Palumbo, along with 5 others, nabbed first-place finishes for the Mustangs. Wednesday evening was the first home wrestling meet in over a year as they took on Norton. The Lancers were a great test for the Mustangs as a couple key victories gave the Lancers a victory. Norwood will look to bounce back in a few weeks at home when they play host to Hopkinton. So, with all that being said, here's the best of the rest. Softball edges out Bellingham 4-3. Girls lacrosse with a great win over Dedham 12-3. The boys share the wealth with a win of their own 17-7 against the Marauders. And boys tennis takes down Dedham 3-2. So another great week of sports in the books. Thank you for tuning in. We'll have coverage of the final 2 volleyball games and boys lacrosse senior night against Bellingham over the weekend, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, have a great Memorial Day weekend, and I'll see you next week. Kristen, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. In government, this summer we can look for a new sign on Central Street. On Monday night, the Planning Board approved the special permit for Dedham Savings Bank. There is a condition on the special permit. Since the sign is illuminated, it must be turned off from 10 p.m. through 5 a.m. daily. On Cottage Street, a realty group seeks approval for a major special project. The proposed development would add 8 residential apartment units to the downtown market. The board voted to continue the hearing for this permit once additional elements are built into the plan. Renovations are coming to Sunset Ave. The board voted to continue the slope stabilization plan. The original project was started by a former contractor but was left incomplete. Town planner Paul Halkiotis explains how the project will be funded this time around.
The funds that are available will cover the cost of stabilizing that slope, which is important because there was a lot of fill that went in to extend that road. The work that Mr. Gomes did was not very good, and the issues that you identified are, in fact, we agree that it wasn't done up to typical standards for the town. That could be reasons for the town to not vote to accept the road. But that's a decision that will be made at a later date. For right now, we're trying to focus on getting the slope stabilized. We've been working on this for a couple of years.
Members voted to use the contingent funding as needed until the slope is fixed. Before adjournment, the group revised articles in preparation for a special town meeting in June. The board meets next on June 28th. The Board of Selectmen held a joint meeting with the Planning Board to discuss upcoming zoning articles that will be voted on during the June town meeting. Town Planning and Economic Development Director Paul Halkiotis gave an in-depth presentation of each article and fielded questions from the Selectmen. Later on in the meeting, the Selectmen voted their position on the yellow sheet articles, which included the preceding zoning articles. The Board of Selectmen are now in their summer schedule and will meet again on June 8th. A new middle school may be coming to Norwood. The Middle School Building Committee has been working with the school committee on a model for the proposed build. Wednesday night, a key decision was made in the project planning process.
At this time, I'm just going to reiterate the motion that Maya put on the table and that David seconded, so everybody's clear on what we are voting on. So the motion is the school committee approves the grade 5 through 8 enrollment of 1,070. Option for the Coakley Middle School project, and we authorize the AI3 team to modify the education plan to reflect the selection of this enrollment option. So on that motion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Is that 5-0?
It is.
Okay. Wonderful. Dr. Thompson, is there anything you'd like to say at this time?
Thank you. I want to thank the committee for their attention to this, how seriously you've taken this, how deeply you have studied it, and all of the effort you've put in to make, a difficult and but an informed decision for the students of Norwood. So thank you.
For now, the 5th graders will remain in elementary schools. The next middle school building committee meeting is June 7th. NHS seniors Jade Perry and Venkata Desuri also joined the meeting, and Dave Thompson proudly presented awards to each of them. Both students shared words of gratitude to the board.
So congratulations to Jade, and if you can show us your certificates and the school committee can see it. Normally we have like a big group picture, but that's kind of difficult remotely. So I know that Siva is going to Penn State. I'm very jealous, and Jade is going to Wellesley College. So I don't know if you guys wanted to say a couple words. Siva, you want to go first? I'll put you on the hot seat.
Sure. I'd just first off like to thank my teachers and my parents for helping me get this far. I know it would have been possible without them, especially during this pandemic. Without their support, their encouragement, their kind words, and most of all, their dedication to what they do, which is teaching. And I look forward to going off to Penn State and continuing the great things that I would like to do in life.
Congratulations. Good luck to you too. Jade?
I'm going to mirror a little bit of what he said, but I just want to thank you for the opportunity of getting an award. I do a lot of the work I do, not for myself, but for my community. It means a lot just to be recognized for it. And Norwood has been a good place for me to grow, and I can't wait to go to Wellesley and grow even further.
The next school committee meeting is June 9th. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break for more town news. Welcome back. Last week, Norwood residents and various town employees met virtually for a public outreach meeting regarding the plans for the future St. Street Neighborhood Park. Holly Jones, Norwood's conservation agent and environmental planner, explains in further detail.
And I had the privilege last Wednesday of helping facilitate a community meeting to plan the future of the space I'm standing in front of. We've been calling this area the St. Street lot because it's behind the St. John, St. Joseph, and St. Paul streets, right in between the end of those streets and the confluence of the Neponset and the Neponset River and Hosbrook. The town purchased this property in 2019 with the intention of creating a riverfront park. At the time, the land was proposed before the planning board to become another open lot storage lot in Norwood, and residents as well as town staff worked very hard to try and secure this little piece of riverfront for Norwood residents instead. And we are now using Community Preservation Act funds. The town was able to purchase it through a town meeting vote. And we're using some of those funds still to have a planning process with consultants from the Horsley Witten Group who helped facilitate last Wednesday's meeting, where we had 30 residents in attendance, including a number of various board members as well as neighbors. This was the first of 3 meetings that we're planning to have. And this first meeting focused on just looking at what the existing conditions are here and dreaming up ideas for what we'd like to see here in the future. So it's in a great location. To my right, there's the Balch School and Elliott Fields behind it. And just a few blocks down the street is Dean. The trails there, Haas Pool, and the parking for Haas Pool, as well as Coakley Middle School. So a really wonderful location for this neighborhood. And some of the things that folks talked about, we're trying to make sure that there is accessibility from behind the Balch School, wanting to see educational aspects worked in, like outdoor classrooms and lots of signage. There were so many ideas, and I'm just going to list a few, but folks mentioned native plantings, wanting it to be dog-friendly, trying to make sure that there was a riverfront overlook that could be accessible to somebody from a wheelchair or maybe with a stroller, so that we're making sure that everybody has the opportunity to enjoy this space. The next 2 meetings that we're planning are on June 29th and July 29th. And you can find out how to access those by emailing conservation@norwoodma.gov or following the Norwood, Massachusetts Conservation Commission Facebook page. So I really hope you can join us for these upcoming meetings, and I hope you get out to the St. Street lot soon.
If you are interested in this meeting, tune into the NCM Community Channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for an in-depth look at the future St. Street Neighborhood Park. On June 14th, the Selectmen are calling for a special town meeting that will primarily focus on the zoning bylaw amendments. In an effort to be ready for the special town meeting and provide as much information to town meeting members in advance, Paul Halkiotis recorded his presentation with Norwood Community Media to be shared with the public. The presentation focuses on educating the community on the proposed bylaw amendments, focusing mainly on the Route 1 rezoning. To watch the presentation, please visit www.norwoodcommunitymedia.org or tune into the NCM Government Channel. Last weekend, the Norwood Health Department hosted Vaccine on the Green, which gave unvaccinated residents the opportunity to receive the J&J vaccine out on the town common.
And we are here offering a COVID-19 vaccine clinic. Today it is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's a 1-dose vaccine for anyone over the age of 18 and over. We're trying to reach people, so sometimes this is actually a walk-in clinic. Most times we have you register online, but we figured if we go down to where all the people hang out, and down here on Central Street in the Green is a very popular spot with lots of food and ice cream, and it's a beautiful day out today, so we thought we'd bring it to the people. We're vaccinating more people. So we have some vaccine left over. We have some Moderna and some J&J vaccine, and we hope to hold clinics every Wednesday at the health department. If you need a shot, if you can't make it down today, even though it's a beautiful day, we're hoping it doesn't rain. If you can't make it today, we will offer numerous clinics. So please visit the website, the Town of Norwood website. Look on the health department page. If you want, you can also send an email to health@norwoodma.gov or give a call to the health department. And also we offer a homebound visit. So if you know of anyone who's homebound, we will go right to the home and provide a vaccine, either Moderna or the J&J. You know, it was a Sunday, they didn't have to work, they were around, and it was very convenient just to come down. It's quick, it's easy, it's painless, and it's one shot and you're done. The other 2 vaccines, you have to come back in either 4 weeks or 3 weeks for a second shot. This one is a one and done, so very convenient for people.
Thanks, Stacy. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week, and until then, have a great weekend.